Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's I'm going to be reviewing a used Dodge Hellcat Challenger. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Doug Smith Dodge Ram here in American Fork. Give me some time with this used Hellcat. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 707 horsepower and then 650 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, when it comes to looks, I think this looks fantastic. Now, they did water down this hood a little bit by throwing it on scat packs and all of that. I think even V6s at one point, womp womp. That's what happens with Dodge. They always do stuff like that. But anyways, this has that distinctive old school muscle car look. It's really cool. And then I love the wheels on the Hellcat as well. I think those are really cool looking. You got the red brake caliper too. Of course, got the Hellcat badge. And this has the white paint that has metallic flake in it, which looks really sharp, especially when the sunlight hits it. And again, look at that. You've got that boxy muscle car design that the Challenger's known for. And then you can see with the little lip spoiler there in the back, which I think is pretty sweet looking. And look at these taillights. So cool. It looks like it might have an aftermarket exhaust. That'll be interesting to hear. But yeah, I mean, exterior wise, it's a good looking car. And this is a very clean example, relatively low mileage. And I mean, you guys will see the interior here. It's actually in really good condition. It's pretty much like new. So you can see this is going to show the most wear, right? Because it's the driver's side. Pretty minimal. You don't really see much. Actually, it's blind spot monitoring, which is cool. And then again, the driver's seat's going to have the most wear. You can see a little bit here on the side with the leather, but overall, it's held up really well. I like the red seat belts. And the Challenger is a 2+2. There's back seats, which is cool. But the coolest part is starting this bad boy up. Aggressive, very aggressive. We'll have to close this so you guys can hear me talk. Now this one, it does have the 8-speed auto, so you've got the paddle shifters with it. You could get a manual at this point still, but the manual, right, is the Viper transmission, pretty hardcore. You can see the gauge cluster set up here. Let's see if this person reset. Yeah, there's no way. Unless this was owned by like a boomer, there's no way. And even if it was owned by a boomer, there's no way. There's no way. It's got to be faster than that. Anyways, the backup camera is pretty much the potato cam, so that's one of the downsides of this. Infotainment system, the rest of it's pretty easy to use, and this does have nice features like heated and cooled seats, dual zone climate, all of that. And you guys can see this whole setup here, and we do have launch control with it, which is another cool feature. And you got this cool trim, which I think is going to age well in terms of like how it holds up and then the looks of it. And then there's, of course, soft touch all over the dash and everything. We've got a sunroof with it. So this is actually a pretty loaded up Hellcat. So with that being said, let's talk about the pricing. So this is a 2016 and it's got just under 30,000 miles. And like I said, this is a cleaner example. If we had an example that was in worse condition and with more miles, it would obviously be less money, but still, this is less than $50,000. You can get a car with over 700 horsepower for less than 50 grand. And if you look at like the dirty ones, some of them are in like the $30,000 price range now. It's pretty crazy how cheap these Hellcats are getting, but let's take it out. I will say the exhaust in this thing, well, let us set off in the Hellcat. I will say the exhaust in this thing is pretty crazy. And something else is cool about the Hellcat, let's go to the SRT page. You can switch, even has an eco mode. Yes, it does have an eco mode. But you don't have to be the 700 horsepower. You can do the black key and be like, it's like 500 horsepower. But always got to rock the red key. It's the name of the game. This is such a cool car. I sold these brand new, and yeah, it was always fun. The customers that bought these were always interesting. I will say, because I mean, think about this for a second. So when I was selling these brand new, they were about $70,000 to $80,000 depending on the spec, sometimes a little bit more than that, especially if you went for a wide body and everything. And so you've got to like have a person that is willing to spend that much money on a Dodge, and one that in Utah you can't drive all year. I mean, I guess you could put some snow tires on this, but nobody's gonna drive this year round. So you've got to find the right person that is willing to spend that much money on a Dodge that you can drive for maybe half the year, and also even that half the year that you can drive it is just crazy because of how much horsepower this has. So it's always an interesting clientele that bought these brand new. And I will say, again, this car is 2016. We're getting close to 2025 now. So this car is getting close to being a decade old. And it's held up amazingly well, especially the engine. Now the turn signal stock, that's kind of feeling a little bit clunky. But the rest of the car, like the shifter, the seats, and all this, I mean, this isn't like brand new, but it looks pretty darn close. Like if you told me that this was a car that was almost 10 years old, I wouldn't believe you. I'd say, this is probably a few years old, especially with how poorly modern cars are aging, the stuff that's built after the pandemic. Turn this down. We got to get maximum power, so we're going to turn the AC down a little bit. Just listen to that sound. I'm going to pop it in the manual mode because it's always the most fun. Listen to that. Ooh, the exhaust in this one, just brutal. Oh, the Hellcat is so smooth, so smooth. I'm gonna give this person a little bit of space here. I got no one behind me, so we're fine. Yeah, Hellcats. Man, this will never get old. Such a special car. Such a special car. And just the sound is brutal. And the 8-speed automatic, yeah, again, this isn't as fun as rolling the gears yourself, but the 8-speed automatic is so quick. And again, this engine's been shown to be reliable, transmission's shown to be reliable. Again, it's a ZF 8-speed auto, so it's a great transmission. Oh, brutal. I will say this might not have enough brakes for how much power it has, but that's Hellcat life for you. Man, this is such a fun car. And again, the sound that this thing makes. We're gonna have a little bit of not a massive amount of underpass for us because we're looping back around, but we'll have a little bit of underpass action here. Oh, it sounds so good. Just listen to that, it's crazy. Such a fun car. It doesn't get any better than this. You can't get traction, so you got to always feather the throttle, or make sure you make sure you go to confession before you drive one of these if you're not going to feather the throttle. Ooh, it's so brutal. The supercharger whine, the exhaust, everything about this car. Such a special car. RAP Dodge's sales, because you just can't beat this. Like the fact that they have to go turbo everything and this and that, it's just like, it's a sad future we live in. But yeah, it's such a special car. So overall, what I've seen is that these Hellcats have shown themselves to be reliable. Because here's the deal, nobody buys this. I mean, maybe this one, because apparently it's only gone 90 miles an hour. Again, I don't believe that. But most people beat the absolute crap out of these Hellcats, right? They buy them and they drive them. I remember one of the gentlemen that I sold a Scat Pack to that came back and bought a Hellcat later down the road. I refused to go on a test drive with him after I went on a test drive with him in the Scat Pack, and I think that shows how people drive these. He did some crazy stuff that, like I said, made me so nervous that I was like, I'm like, thank you for being a customer. I am never driving, I'm never gonna be in a car with you ever again, unless I'm driving. But yeah, they've shown to be reliable, durable, and again, this has held up pretty well. Again, not a ton of miles, but still, really special car. And there's just, I mean, if things keep going the direction they're going, there's never going to be anything like this again. Like, just think about this. This is a car that, and I mean, anyone can buy this. You don't need to get a special license, and you can daily drive this, and it's got over 700 horsepower and rear-wheel drive. It's just such a crazy concept. And the thing that's crazy about this too is if you don't hoon it, you can get decent fuel economy because it's rear-wheel drive V8. I mean, this is getting 12.1 miles per gallon right now, but I've had people tell me they can get close to 20, and especially cruising on the highway. Oh, and the sound. Such a cool car.